Let me share something the data has been telling us quietly for 86 years. Some of you are tracking your glucose, your heart rate variability, your sleep architecture. You are optimizing every biomarker you can measure, and you are still missing the single variable that explains more variance in health span than all of them combined together. Not because you do not care about relationships, not because you are cold or disconnected, but because no one told you they were biological. The longest study of human life ever conducted, 86 years, 3 generations, thousands of participants, has one central finding. And it's not cholesterol, it's not genetics, and it's not your VO2 max. It is the warmth of your relationships. The Harvard study of adult development began back in 1938. It started with 724 young men, Harvard students from privileged backgrounds, and a group of boys from Boston's poorest neighborhoods. Researchers have followed them their entire lives. They tracked their blood work, their careers, their marriages, their drinking, their exercise, their joy, and their despair. And then they followed their children, over 1,300 of them, and now their grandchildren. Every 2 years, the researchers send questionnaires. Every 5 years, they collect medical records. Every 15 years, they sit with each participant face to face and ask, what is your life actually like? This is not a survey. This is not a cross-sectional snapshot where you ask people to remember how happy they were. This is prospective, longitudinal data, the gold standard. The study has watched people live their entire lives in real time. And after 86 years of watching, the research team, currently led by Dr. Robert Waldinger, a psychiatrist at Harvard Medical School, researched a conclusion that surprised even them. The number one predictor of health and happiness across the entire lifespan is not your cholesterol level at 50. It is not your income. It is not your genetic profile. It is the quality of your close relationships. Specifically, and this is the data point that should stop you, relationship satisfaction at age 50 was a better predictor of physical health at age 80 than cholesterol levels at age 50. Let me say that again. How warm and connected you feel in your relationships at midlife predicts whatever you will be alive, healthy, and cognitively intact 3 decades later, more accurately than the biomarker every doctor measures. The people who were most satisfied in their relationships at 50, the healthiest at 80. The people who were lonely or in chronically conflicted relationships, they declined faster. They developed chronic diseases earlier. The cognitive decline was steeper. And married couples in the study lived longer, on average 5 to 12 years longer for women and 7 to 17 years longer for men. But here is the crucial detail. It is not about whether you are married. It is about the quality of your connection. A high conflict marriage is worse for your health than being single. A warm friendship can provide the same protective effect as a loving marriage. It is not a label. It is the felt experience. Now, the question a lifestyle medicine professional must ask is why? Why would the absence of warm relationships show up in your cells, in your inflammation markers, in your lifespan? Because loneliness is not a feeling. Loneliness is a biological state. The US Surgeon General's advisory on social connection reports that chronic loneliness carries a mortality risk comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. That is not a metaphor. That is an odds ratio. What is happening biologically? When you feel socially isolated, when you lack the felt sense that someone truly knows you, your body mounts a chronic stress response. The hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis activates. Cortisol rises and stays elevated, not in sharp bursts, but in a low, persistent hum that never fully resolves. Chronically elevated cortisol drives systemic inflammation. It increases blood pressure. It impairs glucose regulation. It suppresses immune function. And then there is the gene expression level. And this is where it gets deeply unsettling. Dr. Steve Cole at UCLA discovered something called the conserved transcriptional response to adversity, CTRA. When a human being experiences chronic social isolation or threat, the gene expression shifts. Pro-inflammatory genes upregulate, antiviral genes downregulate. Your body at the molecular level prepares for wounding. Because if you are alone, evolutionary speaking, you are more likely to be physically injured. So your immune system shifts resources toward inflammation away from viral defense. This is not a metaphor. This is not loneliness feels bad. This is measurable changes in which genes your body expresses, driven entirely by your social environment. Now, let me say you something you might recognize. Some of you have experienced this. You start a new health protocol. You change how you eat. You prioritize sleep. You set boundaries around your time. And someone close to you, a partner, a friend, a family member, pushes back. They do not say, I want you to be unhealthy. They say things like, you have changed. You think you are better than us now? Come on, one drink will not kill you. This is what I have called the crab effect, and it lives here at the intersection of relationships and longevity. The crab effect describes what happens when one person in a social group begins to change and the group pulls them back down. The name comes from what fishermen observe. A single crab can climb out of the bucket, but when there are multiple crabs, anyone that tries to escape gets pulled back by the others. This is not a moral failure of the people around you. It is a nervous system response. Human beings are wired for social homeostasis, the maintenance of stability within the group. When you change, you introduce unpredictability, and unpredictability registers in your loved one's nervous system as a potential threat to the bond. Their resistance to your health is not about your health. It is about their fear of losing you, the version of you that they know, that they are attached to, that makes them feel safe. And here is the uncomfortable part. Your nervous system feels their resistance. And part of you, the part wired for social belongings, might begin to sabotage your own progress to restore that connection. This is why some of the most successful longevity protocols fail, not because they do not work biologically, but because they are socially expensive. So, what does the Harvard study actually mean when it says warm relationships? Dr. Waldinger has said that if he had to summarize 86 years of data in one word, that word would be love. But not love as sentiment, not love as romance, love as biology. Love in the longevity literature is felt safety. It is co-regulation. It is being able to exhale in someone's presence. When you are with someone who knows you, truly knows you, your nervous system shifts, your heart rate slows, your cortisol drops, your vagal tone improves. This is not poetic language. This is measurable physiology. Research on couples shows that partners' cortisol patterns synchronize over time. On days when one partner's cortisol declines in a healthy biordinary rhythm, the other partner's declines too. And the reverse is also true. A dysregulated partner dysregulates you. This is co-regulation. It means your nervous system is not a closed loop. It is an open system that calibrates itself against the nervous systems of the people you are closest to. And here is what that means for longevity. If you are optimizing everything, your nutrition, your movement, your sleep, your supplements, but the person you come home to every day is a source of chronic stress, your biology will reflect that stress, no matter how perfect your protocol. Your relationships are not separate from your health. They are embedded in your cells. The people you love are not a lifestyle factor. They are your physiology. Now, if what I have just described feels important, and it should, the natural next question is, how do I know which of my relationships are supporting my lifespan and which are not? In the next lecture, I'm going to walk you through what I call the relationship audit, a step-by-step protocol to evaluate your closest relationships through a longevity lens. 4 dimensions, concrete behavior anchors, a scoring system that helps you to see clearly what you might have been feeling but not naming. This is not about judging the people you love. It is about understanding with clarity and compassion how your social environment is shaping your biology. I will see you in part 2.